Yes! Hello, world. What's up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. The EPIX original series Pennyworth premieres very shortly, next month, in fact. Set in 1960s London, the show follows Bruce Wayne's legendary butler, Alfred, a former British SAS soldier who forms a security company and goes to work with a clean-cut East Coast aristocrat billionaire by the name of Thomas Wayne. That's right. Bruce Wayne's father. From the little bits we've seen so far, this show looks amazing. Here to tell us all about it is Alfred Pennyworth himself. The great Jack Bannon is in the building. How we feel about that? You guys excited? Are you excited? I'm excited. Very excited. That's good. That's exactly where your level of excitement needs to be. We're going to get started in just a second, but first, I believe we have a very quick peek of the show, so let's go ahead and run that clip.
My name's Alfred Pennyworth, by the way.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, make some noise. Jack Bannon's right here. Do it up. Come on. Jack, man, I was saying it back there. Congratulations on this show, dude. I got a chance to see the first episode. You're fantastic in it, man. It's so good.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm super excited you're here. How are you doing right now? Before we dive in, how's Jack? How is life? How's this whirlwind going, man?
I'm good. Yeah, we're sort of at the start. We only wrapped filming 2 weeks ago, so yeah, or maybe 3. But that kind of I've had 2 weeks of like, what do I do now? Yeah. And because it comes out so quickly, suddenly I'm in New York and we're here doing this. So
that's
it's great.
Pretty wild. I didn't realize it was that recent that you guys just wrapped up.
Yeah, they do it. They're going quick, which is good though.
I was doing my little research there before you came on in, and I saw something that I thought was phenomenal that we had to talk about. This is a huge moment. I have an image of it here. I want to pull it up real quick. They'll get it for us in just a second. That is you next to Sir Ben freaking Kingsley.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's out of control.
Whoever sorted that out needs a promotion. That's right. Yeah.
That is unreal. How did this happen? What was this like? Tell me about Ben Kingsley.
It was great. So this is EPIX got the cover because Ben's doing another show. Sir Ben, I should say, is doing another show, Perpetual Grace, which is on at the minute. So that's what put us in the same room in London. But the day of the shoot, I was filming. So Ben was there first, and then I kind of wrapped early afternoon and then headed on over. And he was having a cup of tea and a sandwich because he's British and that's what we do.
That's what we all believe him to be doing.
That's what
doing
keeps
it right
us
now.
upright. Yeah. So he was having a cup of tea and a sandwich and I arrived and then I'm choosing what to wear and then feeling about my face and then I go into the room, meet the photographer and they're like, Sir Ben will be here in a minute, Sir Ben will be here. And then these footsteps come down the stairs, and I'm like, oh, Sir Ben's coming. Here we go. All right, get ready. And he comes in, and he's just finishing the last mouthful of the sandwich. He's got impeccable manners other than this, but he's just finishing the last mouthful of the sandwich. And he comes in, and he says, hi, I'm Sir... and he goes, wait, I'm going to do that again. And then he disappears for another 10 minutes. And I was like... have I just killed Sir Ben Kingsley? Like, what's going on? Anyway, he comes back in and he says, well, it's very scary. When you're choking, you're almost dying. And I'm going, yes, Sir Ben, yeah, sorry, thanks. Hi, nice to see you. Yeah, but that was the icebreaker, and then he was brilliant.
What a power move that he did another take on his hello.
I know.
Real life.
Yeah.
No cameras running. He goes, let's do that again.
Yeah.
Everyone in life, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And
I know, right?
Left and came back. That is incredible. When you're standing next to him and he's broken the ice, you've watched him have a minor near-death experience via sandwich. Do you get out of your head at that point, or can you not escape the fact that that's Sir freaking Ben Kingsley that's standing right there next to you? Like, at what point do you just act professionally and just get into it and forget about the fact that there's a legend right next to you, man?
Well, yeah, it's tough, but he was very nice and he made me feel completely at ease, and it was. He was asking about the show and stuff like that, and yeah, he kind of did that for me. He was lovely.
Was there any opportunity to like absorb some of his like Kingsley-esque wisdom? Like, was there any downtime where you guys got to like to talk shop, or you got to ask him any questions, or no? You just kind of you were there to
Not
shoot,
really,
small
yeah.
talk? Yeah.
He was. We spoke about, because we were talking about the respective jobs, and he was remarking on how good the script was for Perpetual Grace, and I said the same about Pennyworth. Bruno Heller, who wrote Pennyworth, is a genius, and so he was saying, you know, it has to be the script. Everything starts with the script, and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting because that's my philosophy as well. So little nuggets of information, but not a masterclass from him, unfortunately. But that'll be next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
Well, so very cool. Congratulations on that. I thought that was an amazing experience for you to have there,
Yeah,
man.
it was.
I'm happy to ask you about it. But this dovetails nicely talking about how great this script is for Pennyworth into talking about, well, Pennyworth. There it is, right? Let's talk about this show. Obviously, you liked the script. Tell me about the beginning. I had read something somewhere that you almost didn't even do the audition for this show. That it said that you had considered, you like kind of like didn't know if you were going to do it or not.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the thing is, when I hadn't worked for a good few months, or I hadn't landed a new job for a good few months, I was on another series at the time, so I was waiting to go on season 2, but I was in between jobs basically, and I wasn't necessarily disheartened, but it takes a fair bit to get yourself back up and with the rejection or whatever, but it's all part and parcel of it, and I sort of deal with it as and when. But this particular point, they got me, I think, on a bad week, and I was like, nah. And I was due to go on holiday back to see my parents in Norfolk for the weekend, and it was a Friday afternoon, and I do my self-tapes with a friend, an actor friend, and he phoned me and said, before you go away, can you fit one in? I've got one. Can you fit it in? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come around. I'll be around in half an hour. And then I was like, well, I've got this thing in my inbox. And I'd read the script and I loved the script, but I was like, I think I'm too young. I don't know, blah blah. And I basically,
Because you were getting in your head, you didn't want to get another rejection. Another
Exactly.
thing, which is like such a hard part of the business to handle and deal with.
Yeah, and but anyway, so I go to my friends, I do his, and then I'm like, look, I'll do this, but I didn't really know my lines, which is terrible. I was so underprepared. And he's like, I'm acting to the camera, but he's holding the script like next to the camera, and I'm sort of auto-cueing it like this, and I was like, this is so bad.
They come back to you, they're like, we like that thing you were doing with your head. Your eyes
that
were
was
darting
great.
back and forth. I don't know what that was.
The dizzy thing.
But I like that.
it.
Yeah, that was good.
No, my agent came back to me and was like, what is this? You need to do this again. It's rubbish. And I was like, I'm already on holiday. I don't have a camera. I was on a tiny little rowing boat, like in Norfolk. I was like, sorry, just send that and apologize. I don't know. Lo and behold, they send that. They saw something in it, God knows what, and it comes back. And then about 8 auditions later, it goes on and on and on. Eventually, land the role, and my agent phones me up and says, I'm never, ever going to tell you to redo anything ever again. You were right. As if I knew that it would work. I was like, yeah.
Absolute genius. I didn't see it, but now I see. Yes, of course. Talk to me about 8 auditions later. What were those auditions like? As you're going step to step, in your head, you're like, this has got to be the last one. I got to be close.
Yeah.
How many more could they possibly have me do?
Well, that was it. And there were a few of them I think they thought were the last one as well. They were like, yeah, it's your job. Oh, no, wait, hang on. There's another person. You know, there's so many people involved in making these shows that I understand. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And that was, for me, it was obviously the role. I mean, it's incredible. It's the role of a lifetime. And it was, I just was like, just keep your head, do your work, learn your lines this time, and go in, and that's all you can do is carry on.
Good. Where were you? Do you remember the moment you found out you got it? They called you and they were like, hey, you're Alfred.
Well, there were 2 moments that I found out I got it, because they told me I got it, and then they said, actually, no, you don't. You've got to come back in and have another audition.
That's so cruel.
Yeah.
Job
that
yours. Wait a minute. No, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. But that time, I'm a Man United fan, and I was going up, and I was just rounding the corner to Old Trafford, and just as I saw the lights and all this, my agent phoned and said, you've got it. And I was like, this is great. So, and then the second time, it was an anticlimax because I thought I'd already, I was like, finally, like 8 auditions out, I was like, good, they've okayed it, right. But no, it was, it was incredible. But then these things, you get this elation when you get the job, but then you're like, I've got to do it now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was curious about, especially with a role like this, right?
Yeah.
It's like you want it, you're chasing it, you're working so hard for it. You finally get it, and I always assume that lasts for, I don't know, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and then just crashing waves of anxiety.
Yeah, you go,
settle in.
why me? What? The other guys must have been, like, better, probably. Like, what? Yeah, not me. Don't give it to me.
I didn't even learn the lines.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
What the hell am I gonna do?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So what do you do with that fear, with that anxiety, with that? Where does that go? Do you use that to prepare? Do you just kind of crush that, just push it down and bottle that up and forget about it? Like, what do you do with that?
A bit of both, really. Yeah. I suppose you do use it to prepare, but also you can't let it. I think it can overcome it if you start thinking about. Hang on, this is Alfred the Alfred Pennyworth. This is Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon and Warner Brothers and all that. It can be a bit much. So, but the great thing about this job was, we shot it in London, so I was at home in the evenings and at the weekends, and it was kind of, the crew were incredible, but everyone. It was sort of our little secret that we were making in London, this kind of little thing. And there's this big storm going on over here because it's about to come out. But it's strange. But we just got our head down and did the work, I think.
Did you, because I was reading a lot of this, obviously it stems from that little nugget that Michael Caine drops in, SAS officer and all these different things.
Yeah.
And the show creators have expanded on that in a beautiful way and done a lot of amazing things with that story. But what that ultimately means is it's different. There's not like a stack of comics that you can necessarily turn to.
Sure.
There's not a stack of reference stuff for you to dig into. So what do you do? Do you avoid other portrayals of Alfred? Do you go towards them? Do you look at them? Do you look at Michael Caine and go, all right, I got to land there at some point? Like, how do you get ready for Pennyworth?
Well, I think, as you say, because this takes place before a lot of the source material. I mean, primarily, I got off the hook. I didn't have to read thousands of comics. I was like, that's time-wise, that's good for me. But yeah, I did. You have to have a view of the others, but because Michael Caine gave us the SAS background, which this series focuses quite a lot on, he was the one that really if out of any, I looked to. But this Alfred is, he's 26. He's probably 30 years or 20 years before any we've seen before. So actually, I think, we're different people year to year, aren't we? 20, who knows what's going to happen? So the script was our Bible, and it was so good that we went from that really more than anything else.
Is it actually because of all that time that does transpire between these two different stories? Is that it's very liberating? It gives you the room to kind of find a way to make Alfred your own.
Yeah.
And find a way to sort of make the character your own version of Alfred.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 1960s London, that's freaking cool. The show looks gorgeous. What was that like on set? The attention to detail, the costumes, the cars, like it looks incredible. Describe a day walking around there.
Oh, it was amazing. Our designers, costume and the production designer was genius, and the thing is as well, 60s London was cool enough, but this is a DC twist on 60s London, so they really went to town. It's technically 1962, but it's a DC 1962, so it's 13 degrees darker, weirder. So there'll be some it's kind of familiar but different. So just when you think you know where you are, there'll be some fashion from the 70s, or there'll be some music from somewhere else, and it's like, oh, hang on, it's not a real era, but I mean, the swinging 60s were the best, right?
Yeah, they were absolutely the best. Talk to me about Ben Aldridge, your Thomas Wayne there. You guys.
Benny. He's convinced the show should be called Pennyworth, which. It definitely shouldn't. No, Ben's great. it's funny because everyone sort of is like, so there's shows about Alfred and Thomas being friends and meeting and whatever, and they're not mates to begin with. You know, it's sort of a chance meeting, and I sort of viewed it as they were like a couple of tigers sort of circling each other. You know, there's this mutual intrigue. Alfred needs money because he wants to pack in the doorman job, and he wants to make something of himself. And Thomas has this, being a kind of billionaire American aristocrat, as it were. And Thomas needs a bit of protection and someone, you know, stronger than him because he's a wimp. So they both have something that the other needs, and that keeps them. As much as they're like, not necessarily trying to get away from each other, but they keep being drawn back to each other, and it's like, oh, really, you again? Okay, right, fine, yeah, let's team up.
That's a fun dynamic to have to play. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great,
Yeah.
and Ben's brilliant. Yeah.
So you've wrapped up all 10. You guys, you're done with your bit. You filmed, you shot, you're good.
Yeah, all done.
And now you're out doing all this. Are you excited for the world to see the show? You excited for everybody to finally see it and to see all the hard work you poured into it, man?
I can't wait. It's a bit nerve-wracking.
A little bit.
Because as I said, it's our little secret that we've been up to in London, and now it's like I'm in New York and they're gonna see it. Yeah. But no, I think it's. I hope that people will have as much fun watching it as we had making it. Yeah.
Where was you just said you had a nice little screening? Where was that? Was that in New York? Or was
at Crosby Street Hotel on Tuesday. Yeah.
And it went well. People dug it.
It went really well. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I liked
fine.
it.
Yeah. I was kind of watching like this, and then I'm like, oh no, people are being nice about this.
It's so funny, man. Well, I think people are really going to dig it. You guys have done an amazing job. The show looks amazing. The characters are great. The story is great. Yeah. There's so much in this thing to love, and you knocked it out of the park, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm getting the signal. We got a couple of questions in the room, so let's turn it right on over. First question, come on down. What do you got?
What's going on, Jack?
Hey.
I want to say I loved your work in Fury. Listen, it's just so cool that you're playing Alfred, man. Like, everybody just wanted to know how Alfred became Alfred.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, did you have any expectations going into the role that may have exceeded on set?
Well, I mean, it's a daunting task playing a role like this. But I think my expectations of what I love, along with the Alfred character, the villains in this show, and getting to act with some incredible actors. Danny Webb, who plays John Ripper, and Jason Fleming, and Ian, who plays my dad, and Paloma Faith, who is a pop star, and she's playing a psycho. And it's like the casting, I think, was very clever, and just going into work and mucking about with people every day was great.
Thank you so much. So we got time for one more? Let me get one more going. Come on down.
Hi.
Hello.
So this is like a really cool role. I know that Alfred isn't really like a superhero, but is there any like dream superhero that you would love to play on screen?
Well, Alfred's my superhero. I can't. He might not have a cape, but he's pretty good. Yeah.
That's a very good point. I want to thank you guys so much for being such an awesome audience and hanging out with us and asking such great questions. And thanks everybody for tuning in out there. Speaking of tuning in, the show premieres on EPIX July 28th on the channel and in the app. So make sure you are set up to watch it because you're not going to want to miss it. Jack, I had so much fun hanging out with you, man. Thank you so much. One more time, everybody. Crazy amount of noise. This is Jack Bannon right here. Do it up.